Welcome to News Analysis. Today we break down the biggest headlines and dive deep into the stories that shape our world. I'm Michelle, and each week, we'll take a closer look at the 11 damning details in Jack Smith's new brief in the Trump election case. A woman in Conyers, Georgia, had to be hospitalized twice after breathing in a chemical plume caused by a fire at the BioLab facility. The fire, which started on September 29, 2024, released dangerous chlorine gas into the air, leading to health concerns among local residents. Many people in the area reported symptoms like burning eyes, respiratory issues, and skin irritation. Emergency services and poison control centers have received numerous calls related to chlorine exposure, with nearly 700 people seeking help for symptoms consistent with chemical inhalation. Despite the county's shelter-in-place orders, the lingering chlorine smell and haze have made it difficult for residents to return home safely. Health officials have advised those with respiratory conditions, like asthma, to be particularly cautious, and they continue to monitor air quality in the affected areas. In late September 2024, a significant fire erupted at the BioLab chemical plant in Conyers, Georgia, releasing a plume of toxic chlorine gas into the atmosphere. This resulted in widespread health issues, particularly respiratory problems, as the plume spread over multiple counties, including Rockdale and neighboring areas. A woman was hospitalized twice after being exposed to the toxic chemicals, highlighting the seriousness of the situation. The Georgia Poison Center received close to 700 calls from residents who experienced symptoms related to chlorine exposure, including burning eyes, breathing difficulties, coughing, and skin irritation. While many of these symptoms were expected to be short-lived, individuals with pre-existing respiratory conditions such as asthma and bronchitis were especially vulnerable and faced more severe reactions. The fire, which has a historical precedent at the same facility, raised concerns among local residents who demanded stronger safety measures or even a shutdown of the BioLab facility. Many people were evacuated from the affected areas, and officials issued shelter-in-place orders for others. However, due to weather conditions and wind patterns, the chlorine haze persisted in the air, affecting cities as far as Atlanta. Emergency management agencies, alongside fire personnel, monitored air quality closely, advising residents to stay indoors, shut their windows, and turn off ventilation systems. The response has been swift, with additional staff at poison centers and health advisories being issued, but residents are increasingly frustrated and concerned about long-term health effects. In the aftermath of the BioLab chemical fire in Conyers, Georgia, the situation has escalated, with widespread health effects and mounting concerns from local communities. The fire broke out on September 29, 2024, at the BioLab facility, which stores and manufactures chemicals such as chlorine-based products for household use. This is not the first fire at this site. A similar incident occurred in 2020, raising long-standing safety concerns about the facility. One woman from the affected area was hospitalized twice due to exposure to the chlorine plume, which has caused severe respiratory symptoms for many local residents. She, like many others, experienced difficulty breathing and irritation in her eyes and skin, which were exacerbated by the spread of the chemical cloud over a large area. The Georgia Poison Center, overwhelmed by the influx of calls, has been fielding hundreds of inquiries related to exposure symptoms. People reported symptoms such as coughing, wheezing, throat irritation, and skin reactions, all consistent with chlorine exposure. For individuals with pre-existing respiratory conditions like asthma, the effects have been especially dangerous, and several people had to seek emergency medical care. Emergency response efforts have been focused on monitoring air quality and advising the public on how to minimize exposure. Local officials advised residents to shelter indoors, close windows, and turn off air conditioning to avoid circulating contaminated air. However, with the fire burning for several days and weather conditions such as low wind and fog contributing to the stagnation of the chlorine gas, residents are growing anxious about the long-term health and environmental impacts. People as far away as Atlanta reported a strong chlorine smell and visible haze, indicating the extensive spread of the chemical plume. In addition to health concerns, the fire has prompted calls for greater accountability and stricter regulation of facilities like BioLab. Residents in the affected communities have voiced frustration over repeated safety violations and inadequate precautions, with some demanding the permanent shutdown of the plant. Public trust has been eroded as officials and emergency management agencies scramble to contain the fallout and provide clearer communication on the risks. While the immediate danger from the plume may dissipate as the fire is fully extinguished and weather conditions improve, the incident has left a lasting impression on the affected communities, who fear both short and long-term health consequences from the exposure. Local authorities continue to assess the damage and address the broader safety concerns raised by residents, Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and support News Analysis channel. Your one step towards News Analysis channel will help us to support my family.